Obviously married people can be deceived, but it was like, whoa, like a single person can be more susceptible to deception than somebody who's married. Okay, so I want to keep this book review short. I just finished reading Right-Wing Revolution by Charlie Kirk. This was a fantastic book, although it was really hard to read in the beginning, okay? There's some words in here that I had to look up. I'm not big on politics, to be completely honest, which is funny because he calls it out in this book. You know, there's a lot of Christians who don't vote and participate in politics. Hey, I'll raise my hand. I'm one of those people. And I'm not going to get into why, but that's not even why I bought this book. I was watching a podcast where George Janko is interviewing Charlie Kirk, and basically he was talking about his Christian faith. He was saying things that didn't sound lukewarm, because you know there's a lot of people who claim to be a Christian, right? And it's just not believable based on the things that they're posting and promoting. But when he was talking about it, there were some powerful things that he said that really caught my attention.
Book of Acts, we get the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is the advocate. The Holy Spirit guides you to contextualize the scriptures. It is that nudge, it's that wink, it's that thing where all of a sudden you're like, I don't have a good feeling about this.
And so when he started talking about this book on the podcast, you know, it's obviously called Right-Wing Revolution, so your instant thought is, oh, it's just going to be some weird book about why the right's so much better. You know, obviously, but it's not some weird book about the right, because he does call it the right side as well, and it's convicting, some of the things he said, but it's a book about how to get back to the center, you know, because we've just gone way off into a ditch. Obviously, I think even though right's better, right and left are both a major ditch, and I think the center is obviously Jesus Christ. Before I get off topic, that's why I got this book, because he said there was even some things in here related to Christianity. The last chapter is literally titled The Spiritual Dimension, I believe. And I just want to make sure, because I don't want to butcher it. Yeah, The Spiritual Dimension, chapter 21. So we're not going to talk a lot about this book. I just want to give a quick rating. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10, to be completely honest. If you're new in the faith, it's probably kind of pointless to read this. But I actually felt led to read this. And usually I don't just buy books at random. I just felt a nudge to buy this book. So I want to talk about the thing that stuck out to me, the thing that I got revelation on. So in this book, he was talking about marriage. And it wasn't even from necessarily a spiritual point of view. Obviously, even in the practical, Charlie Kirk believes that it's good to get married young, it's good to have children young. And he was just talking about how there's this mindset, obviously, that a lot of single people have, where being married and having kids is a curse. People think about how, you know, expensive things are nowadays and just how hard it is. And he basically, I forget how he worded it, but he actually said it was the other way around. Basically, those who actually think that it's like more bondage that to not be married and to have children. The thing that stuck out to me is he was talking about how, I think in 2012, there was a lot of single women that, like, it was a pretty big percentage, but there's a lot of single women that voted for President Barack Obama. And he was just making the point that a lot of single people don't have anybody to look to. So they obviously look to the one place that they can. In the practical, it would be the system. They're looking to the government. And so that's why he brought up 2012 when all these women voted for Barack Obama. And so it gave me this revelation, even in the spiritual perspective. You know, when you're married, you obviously have a helper. As a man, I have a helper. My wife can see things that I might not be seeing in the moment, and it can protect me in a way. She can catch something and be like, Dylan, you're off, like, you're being deceived. And I could do the same vice versa. And so I got this revelation with marriage that, you know, obviously married people can be deceived, but it was like, whoa, like a single person can be more susceptible to deception than somebody who's married. We see that obviously in the practical, like he was talking about. A lot of single people, divorced people, widows, they're looking to someone. They don't have that married person or maybe even that family member, so they're looking to the system. And so in the spiritual, again, that single person is looking to the leadership, the church leader, right? And so that can be good, you might say, because, you know, they're a church leader, so how could they be wrong? And it's like, well, if they are wrong, then it's essentially the blind leading the blind. So listen, I've been a part of, you know, 2 ministries. I've been to several different churches. Obviously, there's a time when leadership is wrong, and it just gave me this revelation of like, whoa, like being married, there is, like, obviously you're one flesh, there's power in that, because like even in certain situations, I have my wife who looks at me, but I can also look to my wife if I'm struggling to hear something or if something's off, and like there's that protection. But a single person doesn't have that. So I'm hoping this all makes sense. Maybe I'm rambling and not knowing what I'm saying at all, but I'm trying to explain it to the best of my ability, because when I was reading it, it just made so much sense. I'm like, he's not even seeing this in a spiritual perspective. He's just talking about how, like, just, you know, when you don't have anybody, a strong family unit, you're looking to the system, you're looking to the government. So I feel like I'm just going to keep going back and forth if I keep trying to explain it. But it was just the one thing that really stood out to me, and it was powerful. And I'm like, well, I'm thankful for marriage because my wife sees things, I see things, and maybe there's been times where if I wasn't married, like, what if I didn't have her, like, you know, or what if she didn't have me? And I would give some examples, but I don't think I should honestly give those examples on camera, because there's been those times where we've protected each other from deception because the Lord got hold of one of us while the other person was maybe not hearing clearly. So I don't want this to be taken out of context, because obviously married people and single people can be deceived. I just think it's harder for a single person because they don't have a lot of people to look to, and it's harder for them to find somebody that they can trust. And so anyways, that's just from this book about politics. I got that whole revelation. Thank you, Charlie Kirk, for talking about marriage in your book. See, it wasn't even the politics that got me, man. It's crazy. So 6 out of 10, I believe I said. And yeah, you can find this on Amazon. So that's the book review. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.